the Coco Master, importer and exporter.
Kanye West told Don Jazzy and D'banj, in order for you to become global superstars, you need to join Illuminati, which simply means you need to sell your soul to the devil in exchange for fame and money. D'banj was like, okay, no problem. If I die, who cares about my soul after all? Kanye West turned to Don Jazzy and said, and you, before we do anything together, you need to drop that staff because there is no Don here. Don Jazzy was scared. This duo built one of the greatest music empires in Africa, a record label that raised legend. They were the ones that laid the foundation for Wizkid, Davido, and the rest of the Afrobeat artists we have today. But they broke up. Not because of failure, but because of success. What I'm about to tell you in this video, you will not hear it from anywhere. I know you must have heard that something happened between Don Jazzy and D'banj that led to the end of MoHits record. But maybe you don't really know the full story. In this video, I'll tell you exactly what happened between Don Jazzy and D'banj. This is a story of MoHits record, the rise, the glory, the betrayal, and how two brothers, D'banj and Don Jazzy, went from being best friends and business partners to silent rivals. In the early 2000s, Don Jazzy and D'banj were in London, and they had one goal: to come back to Nigeria to take over the music industry, because there were a lot of opportunity in the music industry at that time. The only artists making wave then were Style Plus, Plantation Boys, Two Face, Eddie the Don, Too Short, Rugged Man, and few of them. They knew they had what it takes, and they knew that if they can come down to Nigeria, they will definitely conquer and take over the industry. So they traveled all the way from London to Lagos to put their name on the map, and they became the pioneers of what we now have as Afrobeat. Before then, Don Jazzy and D'banj were with JJC and 419 Squad, and they had some disagreement they were unable to resolve. This is JJC, the ex-husband of Funke Akindele. Let me take us back a little bit to how Don Jazzy and D'banj met. It all started with this guy, Cass. Let me remind you of him with this song. Yes, he was the first link. Cass played the song for JJC Skills of 419 Squad, and JJC liked the song, and he was like, damn, this beat is crazy, who made it? And that was how Cass told him about Don Jazzy. By this time, Don Jazzy had just left a group called Soleg and had nothing really going on for himself. JJC was a big name. So when Cass told Don Jazzy that JJC wanted to see him, he left everything he was doing to meet with JJC. That was how JJC introduced him to his group. In fact, he was the one that taught Don Jazzy how to produce music with his system. Not long after that, MP, Master Plan, I don't know if you remember this guy, he sang this song. My head, my heart, my knees, they go, diggy, 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 dong, 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 dong. What life's alive, my head, they go, ding, ding, dong. So what happened was, MP introduced D'banj to the squad as well, and they happened to be working closely together. But there was a problem. The 419 Squad does not want D'banj to join them. So things went sour between Don Jazzy and the 419 Squad. That was how Don Jazzy and D'banj went their separate ways.
The article said something about how I cheated Don Jazzy. Don Jazzy cheated Don Jazzy. How come Don Jazzy didn't say that for himself? You tell me what incident I cheated him. I taught him how to produce, which made him Don Jazzy that he is today. I used to pay him £1,000 every month in 2004, which was almost 250K. For being a trainee. So D'banj and Don Jazzy came down to Lagos to establish MoHits record, and they agreed to have a 50-50% share of the company.
No long term, get me now. This is the making, yeah, of D'banj, Jazzy, MoHits Records, R70 worldwide.
Now, to make MoHits record a standard label, they needed a structure. They needed to define their roles in the company. So Don Jazzy happened to be the CEO and the brain behind MoHits record. And also he was a producer, co-songwriter, and many more. Don Jazzy was deeply involved in the creative process. Don Jazzy wrote and co-wrote most of the band's songs, and he had a unique voice that he usually used to assist them in backing up their music. While D'banj was the first artist of the label, he had great personality, funny, energetic, and very confident. He's a wonderful entertainer. D'banj could talk, he could sing, he could charm. Above all, he believed in the dream. Together, they made a great team. They became best friends, not just friends, brothers, and a business partner. Don Jazzy made the beat while D'banj sold the dream. In 2005, MoHits Records dropped D'banj's first album, No Long Thing, with hits like Mobolowo Won.
And that one mean say, what do you mean?
And Tongolo.
Make a tell them the coco, I make a tell them the coco. Make a tell them.
The album was a huge success, making it the first project to redefine Afrobeat. The sound was different, the vibe and the swags was different from the regular sound at that time. In 2006, D'banj dropped his second album titled Run Down Funk You Up, with one of the greatest Afrobeat songs, Why Me?
She said she wanted to be mine, and my coco drives her wild. So tell me why, you know.
While this album was a great success, after they dropped the album, they had a challenge. They had no money, and they needed money to push things a little bit further. So they went to offer a partnership deal to Storm Record Obiasika. They wanted MoHits Record to merge with Storm Record, and Don Jazzy will become the official producer. It was so tough that they almost sold MoHits Record for 1 million naira. Yes, I repeat, 1 million naira.
It's not that we changed our mind though, and we not collect the money. It was them that were dulling. Obiasika was dulling. I'm sorry, sir, but you were dulling.
While Obiasika was still contemplating, new doors opened for D'banj as he got his first endorsement deal ever with Power Fist. So they got back on their feet and the journey continued. That was when they met Pwandeko and got him signed to MoHits Record alongside K-Switch, The Prince, Dr. Sid, and the rest of them. In 2007, they dropped their first collaborative album titled Curriculum Vitae, and that album changed the sound of Afrobeats totally. We started hearing smash hits like Booty Call.
I love that booty, I love that booty, I love that booty. It's a booty call.
Tere.
First I want to dance with you, babe. I'm a man or okay. If your boyfriend come in my minute.
And many more songs. In 2008, D'banj dropped his third album titled The Entertainer with another greatest Afrobeat hit of all time, Fall in Love.
Mama, you done make me fall in love.
Then in 2009, Pwandeko released Mushin to MoHits, and that album changed the sound of Afrobeat forever. That album came with hit sound like Bomba to Bomba,
Make it follow me, bumper to bumper. When I stop, make it stop. When I stop, make it follow me, bumper to bumper.
Taboo, and many more hits. In fact, every song on that album was a hit. So they made a great team. Don Jazzy stayed behind the scenes, making the beat. D'banj was the face. The press loved D'banj. Women loved D'banj. Brands chased after D'banj. But it was Don Jazzy's sounds that made the magic. They were like Nigerian Jay-Z and Kanye West. Nobody could stop them. But that success started to pull them apart. In 2011, everything changed after they released the song Mr. Down Remix featuring Snoop Dogg.
My nephew, D'banj from Nigeria, Don Jazzy, what it do? True.
Let me tell you a little bit of the story. Before the music video shoot of Mr. Down Remix, D'banj met Kanye West in an hotel in Dubai. So D'banj walked up to Kanye West and said, okay, please listen to my music. Kanye listened to the music and was like, wow, this song is great. So D'banj sold his dream of taking Afrobeat to America to Kanye West. And Kanye West loved the idea. It was like, wow, this is a great idea. So Kanye told D'banj to come see him in the USA with his producer. So D'banj shared the good news with Don Jazzy. In fact, at first, Don Jazzy could not believe his ear.
And we got to Nigeria. I remember the first person we told at that time was Don Jazzy that we met Kanye West. He said, I beg,
And together, they traveled from Lagos to the US. When they got to America, Kanye welcomed them and signed them to good music. It was a great news. That was the very first international breakthrough in the history of Afrobeat. Don Jazzy posted about it. Kanye West replied. It was the biggest news in the media, like Kanye West replying to Don Jazzy's tweet. That confirmed the whole news. Everything seemed to be going well between Don Jazzy and D'banj until March 2012 when Don Jazzy tweeted, "Good friends, so sorry I've been away for long as I've been going through some changes in my life. It is with a heavy heart that I announce the end of a long era and the beginning of a new one. Some of the rumors you've heard recently are sad but true. The way forward now is to make sure I keep bringing you guys more beautiful music y'all love to dance to. And to end the whole era, I'll be donating the proceeds of my production catalog from day one till date to 5 charity organizations. Thanks, it's Don Jazzy again. Immediately Don Jazzy dropped this tweet, the internet caught fire, the media, everyone was talking about it. People started wondering and asking questions, is this the end of MoHits? Is it a prank? People were actually wishing they could wake up from their dreams. There were so many questions around, but sadly, it was a new reality. A few days later, D'banj dropped the official video of Oliver tweet with Kanye West, and guess what? Don Jazzy was not in the video, even though he was one that produced the song, and none of MoHits record members were in that video. This was what confirmed the news of their split. Now, what really happened? Do you remember Don Jazzy used to carry a staff before? Yes, this staff. Now, this is what happened. Kanye West told Don Jazzy and D'banj, in order for you to become global superstars, you need to join Illuminati, which simply means you need to sell your soul to the devil in exchange for fame and money. D'banj was like, okay, no problem. If I die, who cares about my soul after all? Kanye West turned to Don Jazzy and said, and you, before we do anything together, you need to drop that staff because there is no Don here. Don Jazzy was scared, but D'banj was ready to sell his soul to the devil for fame and fortune. And that was the beginning of their problem. But wait a minute, is that story really true? No, that was a conspiracy behind their split. Now, let me tell you the real story. After they met Kanye West and after getting signed to good music, they released a song titled Oliver Twist, and this song went global. It blew up in UK and US. D'banj performed at the Mobo's BET Award and even met with Beyonce. For D'banj, this was a big time. He wanted to be a global superstar. He wanted to be on CNN, chill with Kanye West, be on red carpets, and enjoy all the good things these celebrities are enjoying. D'banj was lost and carried away with the fame, and they started drifting apart slowly. The brotherhood was cracking, but D'banj did not know. As for Don Jazzy, he didn't like America. He didn't like the fame. He didn't like the industry politics. And to crown it all, they always needed to travel from Nigeria to the US to record, to go to events, to meet people and all that. Don Jazzy wasn't comfortable with that. He was like, why do we all listen to go to the US when we can win from home? Don Jazzy wants to take Afrobeat from Nigeria to the world slow and steady. But D'banj wanted to take Afrobeat to the world immediately at that time. So here is the thing. D'banj and Don Jazzy had one dream, to take Afrobeat international. But they had different approach to achieving this dream. So Don Jazzy told D'banj, we are definitely going to take over the world, but let's start from home. If we can win from Nigeria, it will be easy for the world to see us. Whatever we are doing there, we can also do it in Nigeria. But D'banj didn't want it that way. So there was silence. They both went their separate ways for a while and started thinking of what to do. Back in Nigeria, the artists on the MoHits record were confused because they were not hearing from both Don Jazzy and D'banj for a while. Wande Coal was unable to drop his album. Dr. Seed was stuck. The Prince was in silence. Don Jazzy pulled back a bit, but D'banj was flying solo, chasing international deals. Rumors began to spread that Don Jazzy and D'banj were no longer talking anymore. In an interview, D'banj said something that shocked the fans. He said, if Don Jazzy tells me that he doesn't want to be part of MoHits anymore, I will carry on. And that was it. A subtle knife in the heart of Don Jazzy. Then in March 2012, it became official. MoHits record was dead. Then Don Jazzy just copied the master plan of MoHits record and pasted it in Maven, and that was it. After the split, they started fighting over the ownership of MoHits record. There were some leaked emails and deleted tweets. Don Jazzy has D'banj to pay all the debt he was owing MoHits. And D'banj should stop saying that he owns MoHits because only 60% of all the songs belong to MoHits and the remaining 40% belong to individual artists. In fact, there were so many talks about Samsung Dude and many more. Not to make this video too long, they finally went their separate ways. D'banj went to America and continued with good music, while Don Jazzy stayed in Nigeria and started Maven Records. The family was broken. After this event, people started casting blame. Some people blame it on ego, some said it was betrayal, and most people blame Kanye West because it was when he came that everything scattered. A lot of people blame Kanye West because they said that he was the one that took them to join Illuminati. That was when the conspiracy started. The truth remains that these two men wanted different things. After the breakup, D'banj went his way and dropped a song titled Oyato, Top of the World, an emergency, but the fire wasn't the same anymore. The magic was gone because Don Jazzy was the only one that had that magic. Don Jazzy, on the other hand, built Maven Records from scratch. He signed Tiwa Savage, Korede Bello, Ricardo Banks, and the rest of them. And to tell you that he was truly the brain behind MoHits Record, he brought the same strategy, Maven All-Star, and they gave us hits like Dorobushi, Adobe, All Is in Order, and many more. And that alone proved that truly Don Jazzy can do without D'banj, but D'banj cannot do without Don Jazzy. But I have a question. What if Don Jazzy had not been appearing in D'banj videos? What if D'banj doesn't say it's Don Jazzy again in all his music? What if Don Jazzy was just behind the scene and no one knew his name? What would have happened? That would have been the end of Don Jazzy. This is a big lesson to every label owner, artist manager, and music promoters out there. If you are promoting your artist, make sure you are showing up. When music was not really working for D'banj anymore, he made other moves. He started a brand called Coco Gary, then to the Cream platform. But musically, he never reached the level of Oliver Twist again. He tried, he struggled, but nothing happened. Recently, he came out with another album, but the album didn't sell. In fact, he had to bring Don Jazzy to help him market the album, and they shot this video together.
How can I be back when I never left? I am the entertainer. I'm D'banj, or Skibanj like my Jamaican friends call me. Capella like my South Africans call me. Mensa like my Ghanaians call me. Frike like my Liberians call me. Sonko like my Kenyans call me. Ejala, Osinawata Buragareya One, the Coco Master, importer, an exporter.
But still, the torch was gone, and that was how D'banj's career ended, unfortunately. So now, tell me, what really ended MoHits? Was it pride? Was it fame? Was it Kanye West? Don Jazzy once said in an interview, if I didn't let go of MoHits, maybe there would not be Maven Records today. And D'banj also said something in an interview, said, I didn't regret anything, but if I could go back in time to fix things, I'll fix few things. They were like brothers, but success pulled them apart. They forgot what brought them together in the first place. In the year 2017, something happened. D'banj and Don Jazzy came back together for the first time in a very long time at the Davido's 30 BG concert. And they told the fans that they were going to do MoHits All-Stars reunion. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. I don't think we can ever have anything like MoHits Records again. Because MoHits Record was more than just a record label. It was like a movement. At that time, the dream of every artist is to become the member of the MoHits Record. But no matter what happened, we should always remember, Don Jazzy and D'banj gave us a golden era of Afrobeat, and no one will ever forget that. If you love videos like this, don't forget to subscribe, turn on the bell button so you don't miss other amazing stories like this one.